Hello everybody, welcome to Describe Gaming. I'm going to be doing a live video for how to counter witches. Now, I am not saying I am the best reference for this, but I've been doing some testing and theory crafting, and I think I make pretty good arguments on how some strategies can help against them. Now, let me give you an overview of witches. They're basically a low tier unit that you can get in tier 1, and they get significantly better as you progress and buy and research the techs that deal with drugs. So uh, I haven't played Eldari a lot, but basically if you're going the witch route, you want to be emphasizing all the type of drug tech. And basically what it does is it has this thing called combat drugs. It costs 50 influence, and I've done a debug of upgrade all, so I have all the researches. But to kind of show you, you get more attacks. That's on by default, I believe, and that's going to scale with the witch's grenades. So like the haywire grenade and the plasma grenade. And I think that's one of the main big problems right now with witches is that the combat drugs should not scale with the grenades. It's basically like a bring it down on demand with this combo. And the combat drugs last for 10 turns. So they're extremely low cost unit. Not as low as a guardsman, but like getting there. Very easy to produce in mass because of the cost of the production. And you just got to kind of go through their technology tree, and get their drugs and grenades. And then they become hard to kill. So when you pop that, you're doing more melee damage, more attacks, which triggers on your grenades. You get feel no pain. And you can also get move through cover. So all these technologies are there. So why they're just so effective is because they can decimate armor like tanks, dreadnoughts. They can even hit airplanes with hairwire grenades. They do decent damage for just their melee attack to land troops. Plasma grenades destroy basically squads like Space Marine squads, or even chaff units, cultists, termagants. And they have great movement. They get a buff out of transport when they come out of transport, and Eldari's transports have assault. So let's see, where's that trade? Open top. Well, it's there. Anyways, wait. Yeah, it should say assault somewhere on here. Yeah, believe me, it's there. I just can't find it. A lot of people are complaining about witches, and there's not a really good unit that can go toe to toe in the tier lists and the technology. And that is somewhat true on paper and what I'm showing you. But there are some really strong counters, and I mean, if we take SM for instance, I thought of, what if you create the traditional zone wall of heroes? Would that work? Because the problem is that the Adelia player will try to get an alpha strike on you, and then they just kill you. So the idea behind like
feel as if I have been here before.
the idea behind I'm just gonna show you. So I would set up your hero wall. Let me just get rid of these stupid robots. I want a nice clean battlefield here. So what I would do is, you're up against Eldari. You could do the double cap. So if it's a team game, this is mainly for the tournament that's going to be happening. You could easily do a double captain into chaplain into Librarian. Now, a lot of people have written Librarian off saying, oh, it's a trash unit. They could be used as tank. So here's an example. And so I'm gonna take off the vest. So here's a witch. So with no drugs, okay, does little to no. With the naked captain, 1.7, dealing decent, 2.5, 0.7 on trader, 0.8. The vest makes a big difference, especially on the captains. Now your librarian is the one that's a little bit more susceptible to damage. So we go back to captain, 0.8. And then real quick, how the armor system works, it's 83% armor reduction, so it can't go more than that. If you look at their razor flare, it's 3 penetration. So if you do the math, 13 plus 3 penetration, which would be 83%, we're at full. So it wouldn't matter if I put another bracer on to bump it to 14. It's over the cap. So just keep in that mind if you want to understand damage reduction. You look at the penetration, and then you know if say it's 3 in that case, it would bring it down to 10. But that's the maximum basically. Like I'm getting the full 83.3% damage reduction, and then you've got hero damage reduction, vulnerability damage reduction. It's a little confusing, but the trader also gives a unique city damage reduction. So there's, yeah, it's a little confusing. My point is though, if you look at, they're not doing any damage, right? You could say they're doing a little bit damage to the librarian, but he's more your wild card. But still, they couldn't. I mean, even if they got, I think 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's just say they got a total surround on a librarian. So let's hit him 4 times. I think he'd be all right. Maybe. That's 1. Okay, so maybe if they get a full 3, 4. Yeah, and then transport. Okay, so probably, yeah, your front line should be to be on the safe side. Maybe him more in the back flank or something. I don't know. But yeah, because I'll show you now that it dawned to me. We'll heal that. Because say if they came in with these 2. Let's just give it a little bit more movement here. Because he could go like this, right? If you think about it, like in a game. So you gain 3, and then these both hit. So it'd be pretty close. Or no, if you would have gone on this row, yeah, then he could get all 4. But these guys are perfectly safe. But my point is, that's the purpose of making a hero wall zone, is you have your more your more army back, your range stuff, your more susceptible units that can die to grenades or what in the back, and that way they can't get to them. And so their only option is like shoot. Do they just, because here's the thing, they also have to scout this, right? So they you know, if they go all in on a transport without scouting, they lose the game automatically, because then you just counterattack with the back. Your back stuff is gonna, let's put some units there just as, because maybe people are thinking I'm like, what back units? There's no back units. Let's put, whoops, some I guess Terminators. I don't know, Centaurians, Terminators. Because like even, let me just go up here for a sec. I'm gonna heal him. So I'm just healing the guys up. But you see how much damage that does? Terminators, these are sort of upgrade Terminators. They don't have the feel no pain because I can't do that. I'm Drakari, but I'm just showing you these guys are no joke. For a level 1, they scale extremely high even to late game. But I am going to show you some really cool tech you can do to punish this type of play. So, so it has the salt trait, right? You can see how if I pull out, but it's being zoned, right? Now you could say, you know, Descry, let's. So here's the thing: you're not a Drakari player is not going to have their transports like right there for you to snipe. They're going to be a little bit farther back, probably try to hit in, but SM has scan. So really, I think a lot of it's going to be trying to pinpoint where they're trying to hide these transports. And then there's a few ways we can tech and kill them. And I'm going to really excited to show you my new tech against it. You guys are going to laugh about it. But realistically, in a real high skill level game, they're going to be more back hidden because, you know, if one of these goes down with 3 of their witches in it, that's huge. That's a huge tempo loss. So players are going to be a little bit careful. So realistically, unless they're being super ballsy, they're not going to have the movement to go around your flank. So look, even I have Fog of War off, so a lot of times you're not seeing everything. But so even look, I can't get to the Terminators. Okay, it's not happening. So, like I said, this does work. Now, not every faction can pull off the tank wall, the tank hero wall, but most of them can. Tyranids could do it easy with High Tyrant, Trivagon, and Prime. They all are super. You can just put vests on them. They can pull this off. Many other factions can. AM can't. AM has Kamazar, the Psyker hero, and Tank Commander. You might say, "Oh, Tank Commander, that's a real tank." That's the problem. Haywire Grenade ignores armor. So that tank, the Tank Commander just blows up. So can't use them. So let's put these guys back. So let's talk about some cool tech counters to this sort of strategy that we're seeing from the high level players playing Drakari. First of all, I want to clear some things, some things that I was a little unsure of. So first question is, the Librarian is a great counter to them. Let's move these. I don't want these to get demoralized over here. So I'm just gonna, and again, the witches don't have Overwatch. They're melee, they have no Overwatch, you don't have to worry. But here's the cool part. You put endurance. Let's do this. So he has a levitate thing and a shockwave. Get him to level 5. You put 3 into shockwave. This instantly kills all witches. It doesn't matter if they're drugged up on outposts in the forest or whatnot. And here's the thing. If you put an endurance on Mr. Librarian, that also boosts the jump, which the jump is like ignore zone of control. So you can easily, you can go anywhere as long as there's a space. So you could just go boom, and it doesn't matter if they're blue or yellow. You just do that, and annihilation. Now this guy did survive. I guess the traitor does make a difference, but if you wanted to, let's go back. Let's just redo it again. Just put a conceal on him. Or the I believe the chaplain, yeah, just buff him with the chaplain, which realistically you probably do anyways. So let's do our experiment. If this does actually, with the chaplain buff, it kills. Go back to witches. Now why this is good to do this in this setting is because in a real competitive game, you don't want to be guessing whether or not, oh, this is going to kill them all or that. So you do your testing in this sort of environment, and you know it's all good, right? Because you don't want to be testing things like when you're literally in a game and it could be life or death as far as to get the GG or not. So our real question is, we know it survives on a traitor, but what if we buff? So we buff Rights of War. Let's see if it straight out kills.
I will crush them.
All right, so the chaplain buff does make it more,
Speak.
and I assume a
I
skull
will
altar also would make it more. So like obviously you can, you know, or and a concealed weapon. But like I said, you know, the chaplain buff is enough. I don't think you have to waste in a concealed, but so yeah, the library is excellent. Just think about if they like the way they people play witches. They like to swarm all your units, and they, you know, so they're usually in a nice sort of hex. Whereas and the librarian's cheap, guys. The librarian is not expensive. To produce it, it's 15 or 15 power, 60 influence. I mean, that's super easy, and this guy just like destroys the witches. So definitely, if this is a good counter pick, I think SM is actually a fairly good counter pick. But even better, uh, you want to see the ultimate kind of troll.
We know no.
All right, so SM has scan. Okay, captain. If you do a double captain build and you follow my guide where you settle with your teammate, they help you farm. You level up really quickly. It's not out of this world to get a, you don't need two digital weapons in a teleport. Like oh, when you do a double captain build, you can pull this off. Now, say let's just imagine, right? Say the sneaky guy, he's got his usually good players will put their transports up. They won't put it on the outside of the ruins or the forest, because if you have ranged stuff, they all can shoot at it out here. So really good players tend to put their fully loaded transport sort of a hex out of the ruins or forest, and that way if just one unit comes here, it can't kill the thing. But here's the thing, SM has scanned. So say we scan this location, we see he's looking to do kind of like an alpha on me, right? We scan this, and all we got to do is this. We have teleport. So we go, okay, we teleport wherever. So we scanned it so we can see it's there. All right. And this is on our turn. Unmodded vanilla Gladius, these don't consume actions. So you could teleport and use the digital weapons. So you could go boom, boom, and then your other captain, if you want, could do the orbital strike to kill it. Or you can research, SM can research orbital strike in the research path, and every 3 turns they can orbital strike as well. So, you know, that is a huge counter to this type of tricky play. So, and also when they like to build those teleports behind, like I think there's a tech where it allows them to build a webway portal. Okay, so they go and they like to transports. Late in the game, you could have 2 captains with a bunch of digitals. You can, as soon as you see them do one of their tricksy plays, you could teleport both captains, digital weapon like ×4. You instantly kill their cheese tactic. So this is definitely really good. Now here's the thing I wanted to show. That we'll just move this guy out. So this guy has it concealed. I'm gonna heal this guy. So the digital weapons, back in the day, they used to scale with like skull altars and buff from chaplain. They fixed that, I guess, in the patches. But you can see I have a skull altar, so it still does 10. And then if you go over here,
what do you
wait.
command?
One sec. Why is this guy doing so much more damage? 10? And
yes.
then why? Oh, sorry. I was doing orbital. I was picking the wrong one. Yeah, so they each do 10. So this guy has a chaplain buff. So I'm just pointing out. Whoops, I keep doing orbital strike. That the digital weapons plus orbital strike, they don't scale with skull altar or concealed weapon. So just keep in that mind. Don't waste thinking, oh, I'm going to get it concealed and do more damage to digital weapon. No, it's a locked in sort of damage. The attacks don't go higher. And so I just want to let players know, like, this guy's concealed, same thing, 10. This guy's a chaplain buff. So don't kind of waste your energy trying to bump the digital weapons up. Now, The
Your request.
the shockwave does scale with Conceal, Sculptor, Chaplain buff, Combat Simulate. But as our testing shows, the Librarian just needs a little buff from Chaplain to kill a guy in the um, on the Trader. So you don't have to do too much investment. The biggest thing for the strategy is to get a vest on your heroes, and the Librarian needs a vest plus a bracer and probably a temporary shield. I think if you get the temporary shield, that would make him as tanky as a chaplain or a captain when you do that. But if you jump in and kill 4 or 5 witches, I don't think they're going to do anything to you anyways. But so here you are. You have a good, really strong counter with the chaplain, which is super cheap. And I showed you a way to protect the core of your army. And then I showed you ways like if you scan, you catch them, you teleport, digital weapon, orbital strike, boom, dead. You'll probably see a lot. Like if people can pull off this strategy, you're gonna get a lot of dowry people tapping out because I mean losing a transport full of units, it's a big punishment to lose that. So this is tech that nobody I've seen try to use against them, and I think this could be really good. Again, if this is going to be a 2 versus 2 tech, the best would be the double Captain Greed build, where you settle with your ally. The ally goes more defensive for you, helps farm, and you're able to get high research, high Rambo to what you want. And you can, the captains could be online by turn 30 with, you know, this kind of stuff if you farm effectively. And then there's a traditional way, just make a zone here, a strong zone, tanks, and then have your main army sort of a hex or 2 behind it. And if they are foolish to kind of push into your tanks, then you counterattack with your army that's protected. So, yeah. So I think, yeah, and that's just SM. So there's also other factions that can do cool stuff, but I think SM, if someone does pick Drakari, I think your best bet is then to get SM. I think they're really strong based on some of these tech things I'm showing you guys. And anyways, so that's pretty much all I want to share. I don't want to get too much detail, but the main focus I would say is tank heroes are really good creating that wall. That's the general sense how to kind of slow down the strategy. But then SM is so good because you have scan. You could buy teleport on your captains to instantly take down these raiders. The other thing I would say is you want to aggressively take down all gates in your in your area, and have good sentries to where gates are not destroyed. And I think that's going to give you a lot of success and none of this cheese stuff. I think where they're cheesing a lot of players is that players don't kill all the gates, and then they'll teleport like, you know, 2 big transports and then like come out of close to your base and kill you. So you got to be smart. Again, I feel like the captains kind of strongly counter this teleport transport thing because they can teleport, then use their digital weapons and orbital strike and at least kill 1 transport right off the bat. And then they're super tanky. The witches don't do anything to a vested captain or chaplain. So I think, I know people are really whining about witches. Yes, they need to be fixed far as just to make the game more fun and balanced, because I'm having to basically go into another kind of cheese strategy against them, which again, I guess you could, you know, maybe digital weapons should be consume action. I mean, but again, the developers of the base game have to make that change. But again, at least it counters something very cheesy. Now, the other question you could say, well, how do you counter a double Captain Greed build? It's very hard because the double Captain Greed build is pretty safe if the player that you're putting your base with is a good, decent player. If they know how to play defense very well, or at least build a somewhat good enough army. that's going to be hard to crack because you got to remember you'll have 2 to 3 heroes, possibly itemized heroes, plus that person's army. So even if you pushed it with your other teammate in a defensive region of that, that's going to be a hard battle at turn 30. Like, but I would say maybe the best counter is if you could try to snipe some towers. Or I mean, like I said, who knows if you get your timing push really on point, maybe you could. But again, it's, I feel like that's a strong build for team play. But that's all I gotta say about that. I just wanted to throw this kind of guide out there because I know it's been kind of talked about. People are saying, "Oh, should we ban these factions?" This tournament. There's no straight up banning. We're playing the format of the B sequencing and A sequencing. So you're gonna follow that. A team will ban, then a team will pick, and then that team will ban, and then the next team will pick. So that's how it works. It works actually quite well. And again, like I said, if someone picks Drakari, I just showed you in this quick example of really good counters to what they like to do with this. So like I said, you could pick SM as a counter pick. So here's the thing. Ultimately, when you see a certain strategy gets abused, you can always go into skirmish debug and try things out. Research, what if I go into this sort of technology or this? And that's the beauty of the game. But I'm going to leave it here, guys. I hope you enjoyed this quick one. I will see you next time.